Hello and welcome to another episode of the Goofy Movies Podcast. Joining me tonight is Adam
Just boys.
and not Connor because Connor is currently busy. We love him with all our hearts. So
Always and forever.
exactly. Uh, so I wanted to actually talk about an extremely goofy movie tonight because I decided to rewatch it before we started recording,
All
and
right.
and man, I do really love that movie. But there's a specific thing I do want to talk about. Is that the movie? Is there like do the goofs have like a natural goof charm to them? Are they like natural lady killers? Do you think?
I feel like they have some. There is a charm to it. There is.
So
I don't know how to describe it.
so the reason why I specifically say that is because while I was watching the movie, like Max and Goofy kind of really just naturally have like women attracted to them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like without really trying. Like obviously Max through the years has trained to be a good skater, but the way he skates and when he trains, he makes it seem like it's very effortless for him.
Mm-hmm.
The only time he seems to struggle is during the X Games competition, and even
Mm-hmm.
then, he's not even struggling that hard. It's just that Bradley
Out.
completely ruined his mojo.
Yeah. Outside forces fucked them up.
Yeah, it was called Mojo in Austin
Mm.
Powers, right?
Yeah. Mojo.
Okay.
My mojo.
My mojo's gone. I love those movies. Um, but yeah, so like, so yeah, like by the time the preliminary rounds happen in a Goofy movie, an extremely Goofy movie. Sorry, let me correct myself. They
Mm-hmm.
are like Max already has like a bunch of fans. They're cheering for his name. Like he's already known like for his like skateboarding apparently. But he has like a section, and one of them is like one of the part of his section is one of his professors, which is like funny to me. Um, but like the it's majority girls. It's like is there like a natural goof charm? Very curious. Uh,
That is interesting.
cause and also there's a line that I never really picked up on before, but it's interesting. So as we know, Bobby is a much more important part in the plot in Extremely Goofy movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the movie does a really fantastic job from the very opening scene, showing that um how should I say, showing them enjoying like they're really good friends. Like Pete
Mm-hmm.
for PJ, Bobby and Goof and Max. Sorry, Max, not Goof,
Mm-hmm.
Max. Um, and the thing that's really interesting about that is because as we established, there's actually no inherent connection between Bobby, Max, and PJ in the first movies. I guess they talk to him, but they don't talk unnecessarily like friendly, like they're as their friends. They're like, oh, I know you, I'm paying you to do this job thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't
He's just a
necessarily.
classmate.
Yeah, exactly. He feels like a classmate, but by the time we hit uh by the time we hit an extremely goofy movie, like the opening shot, like the opening scene, really establishes that they are like properly friends. By the time this starts rolling, which I which I think is great. But enough. So so they're talking, and I talked to Kevin Lima on Twitter recently.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I know. It was like because as we recorded, with our last episode, and we mentioned that it was like the anniversary and like the official I think it's the official Disney account. Yeah, the official Disney account like showed like a small little caricature like adventures of like of a Goofy movie which was really nice of them. And Kevin Lehman said like it was like really happy to see them. And someone was like, "Gosh, 26 years." And Kevin Lehman responded is like, "Max would be 42." And I was like,
Yeesh.
wait.
Wait a
We've
minute.
never had an official age for Max in a Goofy movie.
Hmm.
We've established that we assume, like it's assumed he's between 14 and 16. With
Hmm.
him, with him saying Max would be 42, inherently implies that he would have been 16 as of a Goofy movie. And I asked him to confirm this. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I
Mhm.
asked him specifically, I was like, so Max is definitely 16 in a Goofy movie? And Kevin Lima responded to me saying, I always thought of him as being 15 or 16, which I
Hmm.
thought was very interesting. So we have so we actually have an extremely more narrow window for uh for Max for Max come uh come a Goofy movie. So that means we have them have sophomore so that could be the end of their sophomore year or their freshman year, right?
It's not. It's definitely not freshman year. It has to be
No,
because
you can turn
freshman
you can turn 15.
at 16. At six? No, it
No,
can't
no, no.
be.
He said 15 or 16. That's what he specifically. When I pressed him on it, he said he always thought of him as 15 or 16.
All right. Well,
And you
hold
could
on.
be
I'm gonna.
you can be 15 in freshman year because you enter it at 14 most of the time, correct?
Yeah, you enter it at like 14, going on 15 sometimes. So it depends on when you went started school.
Well,
If you
yeah. If I'm
started.
saying like if you had a birthday in like somewhere between January and like June, because if you have a
Mhm.
birthday afterwards, you typically you start a year late, school a year late, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
if you have a birthday between January and like June, you can be 15 at the end of your freshman year, and
I kind of well, the reason why I feel like he's sophomore, it's just because of after today, the way it's like there he's been laughing at me as long as I can remember, and it feels like it's been like he's been a year with going 2 years into high school.
no,
Uh,
yeah, again, I felt that way. Then I mean, actually, I didn't because what's it called? I when I entered high school, I was like I wasn't a complete. I was like the exact same person I was. I was just like way more confident. I was like, I don't really give a shit about people. But I can imagine like the feelings Max feels could easily stem from a single year of high school. I can easily
yeah.
imagine that. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, and like so I'm saying like he could so the are like so are he could be so if he is 16, what so we're thinking like what ages are we thinking like when he's 16? Like that would be sophomore, right?
Yeah, like sophomore, because let me see. Hold on, I'm doing a little mental math right now. Yeah, he'd be about 16.
Yeah, he'd be about 16, sophomore. So yeah, like I would like there's a very low possibility of him being like a junior, but I don't think so. Like he doesn't seem that old.
Yeah.
So let's say so he gets to know Bobby between sophomore, junior, and
Senior year.
senior year. Thank you. Yeah,
Hmm.
for our foreign listeners, uh, I don't to explain the American high school system. We have typically 4 years of elementary school, 4 years of middle school, and 4 years of high school. Then we go to college, which then we college is like a whole completely different beast. Um, so or like some people don't even do middle school in America. Like it's just elementary from like 1 to 8.
Yeah, that's how it was in my was my elementary school.
That's how it was for me too. But like the amount of people are here, like, yeah, I went to middle school, and I was like, I never went to middle school. I just went to one school until 8th grade.
Yeah, like middle school, I feel like it's such a privileged shit.
Yeah, it does feel like a privilege thing, right? It's weird.
Yeah, all good for you,
Because
Mhm.
the thing that really fucking like that throws me off is that people are like, I went to junior high. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Fucking loser.
But so we can assume during junior and senior year, Max and Bobby get well. Actually, no. They from Goofy movie, which is like yeah, again probably sophomore to senior year
Hmm.
till college. They get like really close, and they
Yeah.
all
Well, I
like
mean,
discover an exclusive
mm,
like
a bond
a
is formed.
well no I was about to say a mutual love of extreme sports,
Mm,
right? Or
yeah.
alternative sports as
Yeah.
they're kind of called.
Yeah. Yeah, because it seems like, well, I mean, the friendship seems to start, or at least according to Bobby, at the end of Goofy movies, like, hey, that's my buddy on TV. I know him, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. So like yeah, maybe he kind of like hung out with like Max for clout, and then kind of actually like became friends
Hmm.
with him.
Hmm.
It's a possibility. I not yeah again not shit talking. You know, our artist, our artist actually she likes Bobby. She likes Bobby a
Hmm.
lot. I was like, look, I don't dislike Bobby. He just massively dates this movie. Uh, he just does. He's from a different era, man. But yeah, getting back to what I was saying specifically though, is that so I was watching the movie and we get to the
Hmm.
scene right before it's right after Bobby crashes and burns with Beret Girl and PJ's saying like what college philosophy bullshit he's doing that stupid shit where it's just kind of fucking cringe but sorry philosophy majors I it's like look man everyone has a philosophy just live life but so Beret Girl takes PJ off from the table to dance, and Max makes this very specific comment. Um, uh, uh, he says, "Huh, looks like you lost your magic, Bobby,"
Hmm.
which is interesting, is it not?
That is something I didn't really notice. Yeah.
Because what does that inherently imply?
I guess it's supposed to say, like, he's a ladies' man. He was like, lost your magic and that, that his charm doesn't work. Like I've heard people say like that. It's just like, oh, you're,
Yeah, so
not on your game tonight and shit like that.
yeah, but it inherently implies that he's kind of like a low key lady killer. That he obtains women. Obtains women. That's not the way I want to
Oof.
phrase that. Um, he what's the word I would try to use to describe this?
I wouldn't say a ladies' man. Chick
What?
magnet.
Nah, I would say he's like a lady killer, like kind of like type deal. Like he knows how he. Apparently, he's a suave guy, and he like you know has courted a woman or two in his time. It implies that he's actually had a decent amount of partners. That like it's a or it, or you could take it as the exact opposite reaction. You know what I mean?
No, elaborate.
Um, it's like he's crashing and burning yet again. So it's just him being like extra sarcastic, being like,
Mm-hmm.
"Whoa, the Bobby magic didn't work again. Surprise,
Mm-hmm.
surprise." Oh, low key would be extremely fucked up to do because like that's just like kicking a dog while he's down.
Mm-hmm. Rubbing salt in the wound.
Rubbing salt in the wound. Yeah, exactly. And it's just like that would be that would be extremely messed up. But
And I'll, Maxie, here's your tape.
but yeah, so yeah, like it was really interesting to like read that line. I'm like, he kind of implies that Bobby got with like more girls after Stacy, you know, which is like weird to think about. Do you? Oh my god, I just thought of a possible theory with that.
What?
Oh man, I love it. I love when a thread leads to another thread. Don't you, boy?
All right,
Um.
come on, let me in, let me in.
So Let's say that Bobby and Stacy actually started dating after the Extremely Goofy movie, and Bobby is the actual lady killer that is implied by a statement, which implies that he was with more girls after Stacy, which which implies that they broke up at some point or had some sort of falling out if they never made their relationship official.
Mm-hmm. Only thing
Stacy,
is, you said it after extremely goofy movie.
thank you. After a Goofy
Yes.
movie, sorry. Thank you for the correction. But after a Goofy movie,
Mm-hmm.
as we
Continue.
know, as we know, Roxanne. Well, as we can assume and infer, Roxanne and Stacy are really good friends.
I see where you're going.
Yes, this is high school drama 101. So,
Where the line gets drawn in the sand.
where the line gets drawn in the sand, at some point, Bobby and Stacy have a falling out. They're Bob, yeah, and at this point, Max is friends with Bobby, and Roxanne, has to deal with her like scorn, heartbroken, upset, because it's very unlikely for them to have a mutual
Falling out, yeah.
falling out. So, and God forbid, God forbid that Bobby cheated. How
Yeah.
upsetting! How, yeah. So let's say that happened. It would cause a major strain on Roxanne and Max's relationship.
Indeed.
And like, they can't go to the same parties. Like, cause like, like, so, especially in high school, they'll be like, like Stacy would be like, "Oh, why are you still like? Oh, you still going to that party with Max where Bobby's gonna be there?" And like, that would be like a hard, like being like two people being in two like rocks and hard places simultaneously while trying to be in like a healthy relationship with each other causes strain. Eventually, the strain becomes too much, and they're like, and they're like, I have, like, and it breaks up.
Mm.
Is that possible?
It is possible. It's not outside the it's not outside the realm of implausibility. That is something that I've seen happen plenty of times
That it,
in high school. That's very realistic for a high
yeah,
school experience.
not to bring up my own life too much, but when my first girlfriend in high school broke up with me, I was good friends with her first. We actually had it was like four of us. It was like all four like a four group, but like uh actually it's very similar now I think about it. But this was it was a different scenario from what I'm thinking, like what I'm presenting. But let me run us through it. So I liked her, and we started dating earlier into sophomore year, and yeah, and she had her best friend, and like, she had her best friend, and I had my best friend,
Uh-huh.
and we started dating. After a while, like for no particular reason, we broke up.
Okay.
But they still I think like she kind of still kind of wanted to be friends, and I was still friends with her best friend, and they were both of them were friends with my best friend. So one day, we're all walking home. They go walk, and my best friend walks with them because he's like he wants to walk with them like for whatever reason I can't remember from the top of my head at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
They apparent the instant like I'm like basically out of earshot, like I'm like in my on my own. They both apparently just start talking like a massive shit about me, just
Mm-hmm.
massive shit about me, and he immediately walks away, and he's like, and he tells me, he's like, yo, they're talking crap. He's like, I'm not gonna talk to these people anymore, no way. And like, yeah, so like immediately one breakup, the entire four, the four of them, four of us, done, you know, and that's like personal experience there, like like yeah, like my best friend stayed with my best friend, her best friend stayed with her best friend, and it was like that. I don't even know what happened to the other two. You know.
Lost in the crossfire.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I don't know what happened to my ex and her best friend. Like, I don't even know where they are at this point in my life, in their life.
You
um.
know what? Good for you.
Yeah, man. So yeah, exactly. I okay. So our timeline goes. Goofy was born during like deer hunting season. It's such a weird detail. I love remembering.
Mm-hmm.
Max. I mean, Goofy is born under deer crossing, because of the sign. Eventually,
Mm-hmm.
he goes to college. Goes for 3 years in the 70s. Drops out. Um, maybe to help at home. Maybe to do some. We don't know why
Acting
he drops
career
out.
possibly takes off.
Acting career possibly takes off. Uh, while becoming a famous actor, because we know Mickey's famous. After becoming somewhat like a famous actor, he ends up um he ends up finding Max's mom. They have Max. Eventually, their relationship falls apart. She divorces him, takes basically everything in the divorce, and Goofy is like basically there to raise Max by himself. Eventually, gets a certificate and saves enough money to move back to his hometown of Spoonerville. Uh, oh, and then they go on wacky hijinks because there's nothing inherently important that happens during Goof Troop, like timeline wise.
Yeah, it's kind of just
It gives context to the rest of the timeline.
hijinks.
It gives context to
There's
the
a lot of
rest of the timeline, essentially.
yeah.
Wait, actually, there's
Don't
one important thing. Uh, yeah, like actually, so actually, I just remembered something. So
what?
In the Debbie Dune episode,
Yes.
Max didn't like Debbie. He was like, "Oh no, my cousin's coming over." But do you remember
Hmm.
why he didn't like his cousin?
Because she used too much baby powder on him. When she would babysit him, she used too much baby powder on him and accused her of like suffocating him.
Yeah, he thought like she was trying to kill me, which yeah, she was just an overzealous kid.
Hmm.
But there's a specific detail about that flashback I want you to remember.
It's hold on, I don't think how does he remember that very vividly?
He does remember that
I
very
don't know.
vividly.
I as a baby, I have like tiny bits and pieces of like random moments that stick out in my mind, but like as a whole, until like young, until I'd say kindergarten, everything about before that's kind of like a blur.
Yeah,
But
yeah, like
what vivid detail?
how he remembers it so well, an anomaly. But
Cartoon logic.
yeah, exactly. It's just cartoon logic. But there's a specific detail I want you to remember about it. Where did Debbie babysit Max?
Did she, I don't remember.
It was in the flashback seems like it takes place in a room in a home.
Uh-huh.
So this does mean that at one point Max and Goofy were in like a house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is actually technically important to the timeline, and Debbie because Debbie definitely presents the possibility of the truth that not the truth but the idea that Mrs. Goof is a redhead because it seems like there's like a redhead thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
So as a
Nice.
thank you. So a bunch of hijinks. Debbie comes to town. Blah blah blah. Then we get to Max is 11 and a half when we start a Goof Troop.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get to 15, 16 for a Goofy movie, which we've detailed it so many times. But he has his crush on the redheaded girl Roxanne, and he
Mhm.
does this thing to impress
The
him.
little redhead girl.
Yeah, he does this thing to impress him. The thing he does impress him pisses off the principal. The principal tells Goofy they go on this trip, and they bond. They have a falling out, but then they bond,
Hmm.
and then they go to the Powerline concert. Bang bang zippity zoop.
Hmm.
Um. So and like by the end of a Goofy movie, they oh there's something is important in Goof Troop. The Peg, Pete, and Pistol. Because yeah, again, as we've established, they're mysteriously missing. So as I was saying, we established that Pete has a wife named Peg, and he has a daughter named Pistol, who are mysteriously missing. Come, come, God dang, come what?
Extremely goofy movie.
No, by a Goofy movie, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
They're gone by a Goofy movie because they don't pop up at all by Extremely Goofy movie, and they don't pop up at all in a Goofy movie. Not even like a line, not even a line of dialogue. So
So much so that it's like it's so much so they're not there. That what was I gonna say? Uh, I'm fart. Uh, they're not there to a point where like he's saying like, "Oh, PJ's gone. I have
well,
the house to myself."
yeah, that's an Extremely Goofy movie. Yes,
Completely written out,
yeah.
not
So
even acknowledged.
we get to yeah. That's what I wanted to bring. I had to make sure because I was like, wait, that's important. Um, so yeah, we established that he has a wife, and what's it called? He knew them in high school. Like Goofy knew them. They're Peg and Pete are high school sweethearts, and Goofy knew them in high school. Um, good friends. So we get to a Goofy movie. He does his hijinks. They have the bond. Bang bang zippity zoop. But so PJ and Pete go on their own road trip. Then we get to an extremely Goofy movie. It's college time. Max is definitely about 18 at this point. Goofy loses his job, meets Sylvia, goes to college. They go to the college X Games. Goofy graduates, starts living his own life, and all that. That's basically our timeline now. Oh,
Hmm.
so, and the one bit of the timeline I forgot to put in is that sometime between Goof Troop when Max is 11 and a half, because we never see a birthday episode or nothing. Like the passage of time is kind of like nebulous at best.
Hmm.
Um, like from the time he's like 11 and a half to the time when he's 15, 16, Peg and Pete possibly divorce because there's a possibility of infidelity on the part of
The parentage.
on Peg's part because Pistol does not look like Pete at all. But I will say, I remember bringing up the fact that Pistol sometimes has blue eyes in some shots. Peg has
Hmm.
that too sometimes. It happens sometimes with Peg too. But yet again, that's the only thing. That's the only resemblance she has with either of her parents. So yeah, we're all caught up. So I wanted to bring up a detail I noticed. I would love to ask your observation on this. Whose
Lay it
house
on me.
whose house is the barbecue at in the beginning of an extremely goofy movie?
I
Who's
feel it's Pete because he's the man on the barbecue.
right? It feels like it's Pete because he's the man on the barbecue.
Yeah, it's the unwritten rule. You don't control the barbecue at another man's house.
But
You know.
but we know Goofy. We know Goofy's very very kind hearted. You know for a fact he would let Pete man his grill because he knows how much Pete loves to grill. And the reason why I say this is because I decided to pay attention to the background more this viewing. And
Mhm.
what I noticed is that the house is yellow. correct?
Yeah. I haven't watched it in a while, so I'll just take your word for it. So yes.
Yeah, okay. So the house is yellow in the background. I was like, okay, that's an interesting detail. There's also a half pipe in the back, in the backyard. That's something I don't believe Pete will allow in his house. You know,
Yeah, I
and
could
it
see that.
and also is it looks a bit homemade, which obviously if it's from either of them, it would be home. But actually, no. Actually, that proves my point even further, because Pete would buy like a professional ramp, something
Hmm.
like a really nice half pipe. Goofy would make one by hand in his backyard. So
But it's held together, and that's.
yeah, and Goofy can do a good job once in a while. Maybe put his heart and soul into it. So in that movie, so they grill, they have their weenies, as Goofy puts it, and their burgers and all that. God, I wish I can go for one right now. Holy shit, dude! Yo, summer's around the fucking corner, and I want a barbecue. Anyway, sorry. So then we cut to Max packing up for the for to go to college the next day, all that stuff. So cut to the next day. Max is like already out the door. Goofy is like running, like trying to get like breakfast made, and then he like runs out the house and is like, "You sure you got everything?" And yet again,
Hmm.
I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention to the background. The house that Goofy runs out of, like the house that Max and Goofy left, Goofy ran out of to say bye to Max. It's a yellow house. Now, you could easily say, "Oh, all like houses have the same." Yeah, not always. That's not always the case. The fact that we see two yellow houses in a row alludes to the
Hmm.
idea that they are both the same house,
Hmm.
right?
It's a possibility. I mean, we have to see the only other time we ever see them in that backyard is in the last half of like the last quarter of the movie when Goofy goes back home. I feel like you have to watch that again and see if there's another colored house next to it,
You know
or are
what?
there two
You're
yellow
right.
houses.
You're right. I need to pay attention to the neighborhood. I was paying attention to the house because
Yeah.
yeah, again, it's a yellow house again, and Goofy specifically um runs away, and like his car is like in the it's implied that his car is like in the driveway. But yeah, again, even though it's Pete's house, that's not beyond the pale of possibility.
Hmm. I don't. I would. He would be like, "Goof, get that shit out of my driveway.
Get that
It'll
shit box
dig the
out of
boat.
here.
You either move it or I'll call a tow truck."
Yeah. So
He would totally do that shit.
he would.
He wouldn't
So
even warn him. He'd just do it.
yeah, he would. So it leads me to believe that they have the barbecue, both scenes at Goofy's backyard, and it gives us a little bit of leeway as to why Peg might not be there. Because I know, yeah, again, you got to give the reasonable doubt for at least that the possibility of doubt for everything, because there's no definitive proof the other way around. It could be we both caught them in this moment in time where we had just missed them.
Hmm.
Like yeah, again, like as I said time and time again, there's a definite possibility that Pete was like, "This is gonna be a father-son journey. We don't need no women on our with us," you know. And
Hmm.
so maybe like Pistol and Peg had their own like mother daughter thing going on. There's also the possibility that like yeah again like there's another whole like mother daughter thing they have going on, like maybe they were still getting ready.
Hmm.
Because not to be rude, not to be sexist, but there's a stereotype of women, taking long to get ready.
Mhm. Oh, you know what? That would be interesting. A spinoff of like a mother-daughter trip with Peg and Pistol.
I was just thinking about that. I was like, it's genuinely wild that like 2000s Disney never made that movie. That seems like such a obvious thing to do. That like Peg and Pistol's road trip. Like a Goofy movie
Mhm.
story or some bullshit.
Mhm.
It's kind of
The
wild.
Goofy verse.
Yeah,
Expand the Goofy verse.
like they would. You'd think like if they made Cinderella 3, they would have made that.
Hey, don't knock Cinderella theory. Apparently, it's really fucking based.
Look,
It's apparently really Kino.
my inherent point is the fact that if you're like, look, it could be good, but that doesn't mean that still mean we still know you're drawing blood from a stone. Like you gotta call a spade a spade. So
And a simp.
a simp, yeah. So yeah, I think those are my findings inherently. So 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 yeah, I we have at least a little bit of out for Peg.
Hmm.
Um, there's the possibility there's a natural goof charm. There's also the possibility. What's the other thing I said that like seems
Mm,
really important? Uh,
there's a possibility.
oh, the fact that
Oh, the
Max,
fallout, the falling out.
yeah, the falling out that Max and Roxanne broke up because of Stacy and Bobby's falling out. There's
Bro, imagine it happened over the summer break.
a well, so yeah, that's a pardon the pun, but yeah, like that's one of those things that I want to I know a lot of people love Roxanne and Max as a couple. They love it so much. They're like, please, like they're like, oh, but I'm like, they share so little screen time, and you don't know how what they're like. You don't know anything about Roxanne really, and so it's just like it's puppy love, he's like pretty girl, you know? Like fucking Max would pitch a tent for Lisa like probably the next year. He
Damn.
probably he saw
I,
he probably saw he probably he
that was his fallback.
no he probably saw Brad talk no Chad. It was Chad, right?
Yeah.
He probably saw Chad talking to Lisa and he's like, Lisa, you betray me.
You're
Fed up with
tearing me apart. You're
partly.
tearing me apart, Lisa.
Yet again, it would be Max. You're tearing me
I know, but
apart, Lisa. So
oh, jeez, man, you're tearing me apart.
she betrayed
Sorry.
you. You should be fed up with this world. Oh
You
man,
treat like a princess, and you stab you in the back, man.
yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, like it's really hilarious to me that like it's just like they're kids. Like like not to be a cynic, but like kids fall in and out of love all the goddamn time. Like relationships, like there a lot of relationships come and go. Yes, there are people who have had these amazing, long, steady, steadfast relationships that are last years, decades, and like they really take that till death to us part shit seriously. But yet again, like Max fantasizes her, like literally idolizes her, like views her like a goddess. It's like it's a bit unhealthy. But then like he's just a kid, who's has his hormones popping up just like his dad. Like yeah, like I'm just saying, personally, I think it's possible that it's what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Whatever. that that relationship fell apart, and like because I will remind people this time and time again. By the time we get to Twice Upon a Christmas, which is implied to be the Christmas Max says he's coming back home for, uh, like when for the college, like when he leaves in a extremely goofy movie, it's very much just this it gives this impression like like Max and Roxanne are no longer together. He's with Mona. I don't like. I know people like don't like that to hear that, but it's fact. And yeah, Roxanne and and him were a flash in the pan that existed how they did. You know.
Mm.
So yeah. These are all possibilities. It's just how it is. Um. Yeah. I don't know, man. That's what I got for this. Um. There is one last thing I want to bring up that was
Mm.
I noticed while watching an extremely goofy movie. Goofy straight up has hallucinations, like complete hallucinations because of how sad he gets. You know,
Mm.
that's like a really bad. Like Goofy needs therapy, right?
That is like some serious emptiness syndrome. That was like it cost him his job, like
It
his
cost him his.
livelihood.
It cost him his job. He Remember, he like failed. Like there's a whole midterm that he didn't pay attention to. The whole class left beside him and the professor, and like he was completely zoned out. So like the professor like forcibly like woke him up essentially. Like think about that. Like that's like the amount of delusion that's involved in that. It's really high.
Mind-boggling.
Like it makes it, I get curious. I get curious. Like it feels like it's more than just emptiness syndrome. I feel like it makes me feel like Goofy genuinely doesn't like being alone. You know what I mean?
Hmm. He can't handle it.
Yeah, I feel like he can't handle being alone because like he has like one of the things that happens in an extremely goofy movie is that he gives a gift to Max and it's just like it's like accountant like type of
It's a
thing.
typewriter thing. Yeah, it's like some typewriter.
Yeah, but it's not like a proper typewriter. It looks like the accountant typewriters like they had back in the day.
Hmm.
Hey, you know that's another thing. So, and he's like, "This was my dad," and like Max understands how that's important to him, to him because of a Goofy movie, and he actually is really appreciated that he gave him something that his dad owned.
Hmm.
But like it's just like it's so clearly obvious that like he take like Max. I mean, Goofy had like really cherishes his relationship with his father. It's very understood that he really cherishes the relationship he had with his dad. And and it's just like and then like the fact that his wife probably left him in a divorce. It's just like I wonder if Goofy just has a like he really can't be alone. Like that's something he like struggles with. You know?
Hmm.
Because it just makes me feel like he's like so inherently lonely, which is like
Oh wait, what if it's all his? He can't be alone out of abandonment issues from his wife leaving him.
that's kind of what I was getting at. Because like the amount of smothering he does for Max. Look, he's a good dad, and like, but at the same time, I can understand why someone would think it's a kind of like annoying. But like, when you think about it objectively, like, yeah, he really smothers Max, and he really like needs to be a part of Max's life up until the end of an extremely goofy movie. And but even then, that presents a really interesting, weird dichotomy by the time I end of extremely the goofy movie, which I'll get to. But I wonder. I really wonder if like Goofy has like an extreme trauma and an extreme abandonment issue because he already lost his father. Most of his extended family is like AFK. You know.
They're all spread. He didn't see his family, like I said, like an episode of Goof Troop. He didn't see his family since he was a boy. They never met. That was the first time they ever met Max. And Max is 11 and a half.
Yeah. So that they like. So the only family that like
They weren't even at. They didn't even go to his wedding. If he didn't even see his family since he was a boy, they didn't even know he wasn't even at his marriage.
yeah,
Damn.
they weren't even. So does that mean only like the wife's like family showed up for his wedding?
If even who
And then
knows?
Pete doesn't know about the wedding. He doesn't even know like Goof had a kid. He finds
Hmm.
it insane. He finds it laughable. With fuck him. But like, basically, like Goofy is like, do you think? Do you think? Wow. Do you? This is. Oh man, this is kind of fucked up. I have a
What?
really
Say it.
so.
Say it.
What?
Say it.
What if Goofy's Max's mom purposefully isolated Goofy from his like family and friends?
Ooh.
No one to turn to, no advice, a dependent. She accidentally gets married and she divorces him before he even has like the chance for like Max to like have a shot at like the wealth. Fuck. Because like yeah, again, like Pete doesn't know, Peg doesn't know. He's in a trailer park, no family. The only interactions that we know he's had with family prior to Goof Troop is that Debbie babysat Max. And as far as we know, her last name's not is Dune, not Goof or Jeef, which inherently implies that she's a part of the mother side of the family. Which means he just isolated him to her side of the family, and that's it. Think about that. Think of fuck, like, and there are people out there who have done these inherently malicious things. You know, like,
No, you're right.
and like, what if she planned on just like using Goofy as like a cash cow, and then Max like being born through like a monkey wrench into her plans? Why she divorced him, and like, yeah, the idea I have in my head is that like they signed a prenup, but the prenup was all in her favor.
Hmm.
You know?
She just raked them over the coals.
Yeah, exactly. Like yeah, like he like Goofy is such an inherently good natured person. He would be like, I don't see why we need this since we'll never like divorce, but or she doesn't even need to say it. He doesn't even need to know. She could literally simply go like, oh, this is just part of like, this is like a modern marriage thing, and
Yeah, like he wouldn't
like
even read it.
yeah, he wouldn't even read it. He'd be like, "Oh, gosh, well, I do love you, so I'll sign it." And then Max comes and throws in the so she just dips while like the prenup is still like active and the clauses are still there. Fuck,
Hmm.
man. And prenups have like man, that's a
Big oof.
so yeah, like maybe he has this like really like betrayed abandonment issue because he's just like I had a kid with a woman that I thought like was like love of my life, and she threw me out like trash, and my son, which would maybe explain why he's so smothering to Max because he's like I have to make sure he knows that I love him for the for like the for the for, I have to love him twice, like basically twice as much as she felt that Max was like a burden to her. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And and it also explains. Yeah, yeah, like and because yeah, I was watching it. As I was watching Stream Goofy, the fact that Goofy was so really willing to like ask Sylvia out on a date was like really it was a really interesting choice. Like he was like, I'll go on a date with you. And the fact he did that with the guidance counselor also. Like he was like
Hmm.
he seemed like he had no problem with, like new women in his life. Um because like yeah, again, Goofy's nature is inherently he probably just believes that like she's like the one who like fucked up. Like just the one because he still has a beautiful faith in dog kind. So so you think God, you think about it. And
Also, like that
mm,
whole nightmare situation when he's left in when he has that nightmare, he's left in like an empty void, just his son screaming at him before closing the door, "Leave me
well, it's
alone and get your own life."
so there's also another weird thing because it's him screaming at him, but there's also like a weird psychedelic version of him waving by.
Hmm.
Like I'm very curious, like what the fuck that I will. I need to talk to. I need to like send a message to the.
Maybe that was the Goofy before he was the dad. Like
Yeah,
your past life
maybe.
is saying goodbye to you, and your present life saying goodbye to you. You have nothing.
Yeah, yeah. Like the two things that have defined him the most in his life. Yeah, maybe. So yeah, like So yeah, I feel like he probably has like a deep seated trauma that causes such intense delusions and like for him. Ah man, that's really upsetting to think about, But can't.
Very upsetting.
But God, um, yeah. But yeah, but I will say this possibility that I'm speaking of does throw a little bit of a monkey wrench into the ending of an extremely goofy movie because Goofy is just with Sylvia, and it seems like he's gonna use her company to like fulfill himself. But
Yeah.
but fuck off. But like, which is an unhealthy. Which for him is for someone who has an abandonment issue. That would be an unhealthy way to resolve his problems because he hasn't fixed the problem. He hasn't even attempted to fix the problems. He's
He
just.
replaces one codependency with another.
It wouldn't be a codependency. It would be a dependency.
Mm.
But yeah, exactly. You replace a dependency with to another dependency, and which is a bit bizarre. Like but at the same time, there's also enough evidence to imply that Goofy, once he does the horseshoe game again and regains his focus, he really realizes that he needs to be his own man, and like he actually needs to be like approach his relationships with people differently. Cause yeah, like Matt, like the very end of the movie very much seems like he's like actually okay with like just leaving Max by himself and like really living his own life, for the
Mhm.
first time in like God knows how long. So yeah, there's enough evidence for either or possibility, but I personally hope for the happier possibility, because yeah, when you get to the end of that movie, it's just such a perfect ending for Goofy's character, you know. Like he's like it's such a great finish for that for that story for him. Which is why if they were ever to make a sequel, I would want it to be about like be focused on Max more than anything, you know.
Mhm. I would like to see to solve the mystery, like the things that I would think would be, I don't know, the mystery of his mom, and possibly just for the sake of just because of this, I want to say nostalgia. It's just like in my heart of hearts, just him getting back together with Roxanne, or just meeting up with her, like
So
just bringing her back into his life.
so my dream scenario, the story would be the movie would start out with Mona and Max breaking up.
Mm.
Um, and she breaks up with him not because they had a bad relationship or anything, but she can tell that he's still in love with someone else. That he's still in love with
Hmm.
Roxanne after all this time, you know?
Hmm.
And like she's still his like ideal girl after all this time. So because of the breakup, he has to move back in with his dad till he like finds a new place, right?
Mhm.
And he starts like rekindling his like relationship with Roxanne. Like she's back, she's also in town. Like she like I don't think maybe she never left Spoonerville. Who knows? Who knows? But he
The
starts.
girl who waited.
Yeah, kind of maybe the girl who waited. Kind of, but so the thing that I really hate about my story in my head is like it's a bit too much like It's a Wonderful Life in my head. But I'm like, fuck it, who doesn't love It's a Wonderful Life? But I wouldn't do like, what if you never were born? Fuck that shit. I don't care about because yeah, again, like so because the story would be about Max becoming an adult finally, like finally
Mhm.
like becoming an adult, and so the movie will progress and like he wants to get back with her, but he kind of still has this like immaturity about him, and
Mhm.
like it's like one of the reasons why like they're like kind of like they're connecting, but there's like a weird like standstill, and like he's kind of still butting heads with his dad because his dad is trying to like still be in his life. But he's kind of like
Mhm.
still upset. He's like, Dad, don't talk to me. I'm an adult. Like, look, I just broke
Don't
up
tell me
with.
what to do, Dad.
Well, it's like
Mhm.
I'm an adult. Like, I just broke up with a girl. I'll just get on my feet. Don't worry about it. It's like he's like, well, son, if you need to talk to me, and then he'd be like, he'd be like, it's like, Dad, what do you know about relationships? You weren't even with mom my whole life. What the hell? Like, it's like do something like that.
Mhm.
A real headbutt. And like they and like what's him and his dad have like a bad argument. Max like leaves and like goes to like a local skate park because he's trying to like remember like his youth and like all this times like he goes back to the park that he trained to become good to like compete in the
Mhm.
college X Games, and he's there and like yeah, in my mind I would love to get Tony Hawk. I would love to get Tony Hawk. I would love to treat Tony Hawk like he's treated in real life, where he's kind of like, oh shit, people know him, but they don't remember. They totally remember him. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
And he'd be like, "Holy shit! Like you're Tony Hawk," and he'd be like, "Holy shit! You're Max Goof. You won the College X Games your freshman year." You know, because
Mhm.
like he would be kind of like a legend also, right? So,
Yeah.
well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that was very memorable. That was a memorable year, I'd say. Sports.
yeah. I mean, like what's
The
all he was
beating the five-time
five
five-time winner
five,
Gammas in your freshman year.
and what's all they were the first freshmen to ever win.
Mm.
Oh God, that's a real okay. Anyway, so as I was saying though, so we get to this so they talk and and like Tony Hawk is actually at the skate park because he's just kind of like he's at Spoonerville because he's just like like Tony Hawk travels and whatever, and he's actually there with one of his kids, preferably his daughter, and his daughter is like
Mhm.
practicing skating, and he's like wow, you're a dad. He's like oh he's like wow, it's wild that you have like a kid. I never I can't it's like having a kid is still like a crazy concept to me like today. And then like said Tony says, what's the best part about being a parent is the ability to pass on what you know and teach
Mhm.
from your mistakes. Like I'll make sure that I'll help her make not make the same mistakes I did because
Mhm.
like my dad did before for me like my parents did for me before. And Max
Mhm.
has a like big realization that's like I should have shut my dad out of my life. My dad has lived a long, wonderful life. He has a good relationship. I would, in my mind, he'd still be with Sylvia. He has a good relationship with Sylvia. I can learn from him. And so Max learns like one final lesson from Goofy about how to really be a mature adult, how to have like a proper relationship, and he actually like properly rekindles his like relationship with Roxanne. And the movie
Mhm.
ends with a flash forward where Roxanne just gives birth and Max becomes a dad. And the movie
Would
ends.
would PJ and Bobby make an appearance at all?
I mean, of course, because yeah, this is an extremely bare bones like summary.
Oh yeah, I know you're glossing over a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I don't have it fully thought out, like but like of course he would like,
I would just love to imagine Bobby living in a van.
well, so yeah, like one of the things like I think would be interesting Would he would meet like possibly like if our theory was true that they broke up, you could possibly work that in. It's like Max, man, we were high school kids. Don't let that bother you no more. We broke up. That's that. That's that, buddy. You know,
Body.
because
Or
yeah,
you know, it'd be really funny to go the other way if he's not a stone like an adult stoner. He
mm,
just fucking goes full on corporate. You
you got
know,
a big corpro. That'd be
he
funny.
he's
Well,
the Jeff Bezos of the Goofy universe.
no, but no, I mean like I didn't say he was a stoner. I just said like he talked like that.
No, I'm saying like he was very. It was very much implied like
Oh no,
he
I know,
stoner culture.
I know. But what I'm saying is like I only spoke in Pauly Shore's voice because that's just how
Mm,
Pauly Shore talks.
yeah.
Um, but no, yeah. So like obviously I would have the idea would be to get like the all star cast back. Bring in all like Beret Girl, give her a fucking name. Yeah, the fact that I start the movie out with Mona should let you know that I want all the characters there. I want Peg, I want Pistol, I want PJ, I
I
want
want
Beret Girl.
Bigfoot.
That no.
I want Powerline.
Powerline would be interesting to like bring back. Like I think it would be interesting. You know what I would you know what would be awesome.
What?
So
A reunion tour?
no. I'm not a fucking idiot. So it would be uh so what would be really fucking cool is because like we only heard two Powerline songs, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has a whole album, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go Max goes back to his room. Obviously after college he like lived back with his dad for a little bit, in my mind,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
and like
makes sense. Still,
you know
it's very believable.
yeah, exactly. So
Or unless he tried to like struck out with him and like PJ and Bobby all like
no
pitched
no no
together
because
the
like
like
because
bachelor pad.
you need his like childhood shit in there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Go
he
on.
he finds one of like his old CDs or even cassette tapes, which either or, and he
Mm-hmm.
plays it, and it plays a brand new fucking song. Yes, bring back Tevin Campbell, make him record a brand new Powerline song in 2021 that sounds like it came out in '95. You bet your ass your boy would do that. You bet your ass your boy would do that, and it would be a slow, because yeah, Michael Jackson had this slow, romance songs and shit. So it would be like a
Mm-hmm.
slow, like romantic song, and like it would be you have a flashback to when him and Roxanne were dating, and he'd be like, it would remind. I would absolutely do. Get it. All the hits, bro. All the hits. Or maybe he has like, or maybe what's it called? He watches like, or what'd be interesting?
Mm-hmm.
So like maybe like one of the like what's it called at Stacy's party, someone like saved the the performance,
Mm-hmm.
and so he rewatches like the performance, but be brand new animated, and like we see the rest of the concert where it's just like where we see him perform another song, and he played like and he plays ballad song,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd be like he would have been like that's a moment like like he would have like yeah, I would bring back all the hits, dog, all the hits, trust me. um so with that, with all those ideas spit out, we're at an hour and four. Any
Huh.
last thoughts?
No, we never even did. We didn't even start at the beginning, asking how our week was, did we? I don't
No,
think so.
I just got right into it because I have just seen an extremely goofy movie and I was really feeling it. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I get you. You came out the gate all firing on all cylinders. No, that's fine. Do you want to discuss it before we have final thoughts? Because I always feel like that's important. How's your week?
Uh, my week was fine. I had a good one. uh, that's about it.
Mhm. Yeah. My week was okay. I just was just overworking like crazy because people were out with the Rona.
That
They went on
sucks.
vacation and got COVID and had to make up their hours, but that's okay. Just you know, I'm gonna be happy when I see my paycheck tomorrow.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Uh, yeah. Final thoughts. Well, a few things. One, fuck Prince Philip. Rest in peace, DMX.
Yeah, rest in peace, DMX. In our hearts
Mm-hmm.
forever.
This is being uploaded on a national holiday. 420, baby, blaze it. That's why I started the episode. Just boys.
Oh, I forgot it was getting uploaded on that day. That's funny.
Yeah, it is. And also, just blaze 420, baby.
Yeah. Any final thoughts from me? Yeah, 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 again, yeah, again. We found another thread. We found another thread. See, you give enough thought, and threads will come your way. So we immediately, yeah, yeah. We have an almost, because yeah, yeah. Like I, if I write it down, I feel like I would have this really interesting, like timeline. So yeah, again, we're getting really close. I don't know close to what, but we have a very inherently concrete picture of what's it like. What's like everything, some of the answers to like some of our questions. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So yeah, those are my final
At least
thoughts.
you have
Hmm?
patient now with him, so maybe he might answer some more of your questions. I would definitely please ask him about this. What happened with Bigfoot? I really want to know
I'll
the
ask.
situation.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you to Katamari for doing all our thumbnails. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what else is there? God, there's so much. Please comment. We're reading our comments. Uh, yeah. Um, thank you, you guys, for listening to our thing. Yeah, yeah. We're sad that Connor couldn't be with us today, but yeah, we had a I can't wait to talk to him about
Uh,
this stuff next episode and like really fill him in with some of this stuff because I think I think it's very interesting that
mhm.
all this stuff.
And get his input. Maybe he sees and thinks things that we might have missed.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, thank
Mm-hmm.
you. Uh, be healthy wherever you are. We love you. Um,
I hope you're having a great day. If not, hope it gets better. We love you. We're here for
yeah,
you.
have a good one, y'all.
Until next time.
Because I got high, because I got high, because I got high.